Speaking of teams that have kept their composure, Providence, after losing Bryce Hopkins, lost those 4 straight games, including one to Seton Hall at home. They've bounced back. Obviously, they had DePaul, which is DePaul's DePaul, right? But then they get the big win last night for the game you were on the call for at Seton Hall, a Seton Hall team that until they played Creighton had been playing great basketball. How impressed have you been with Providence and their ability to kind of pivot after the Bryce Hopkins injury?
Well, I was really impressed last night. To me, last night was the most impressive win of Kim English's tenure. Even better than their home win over Marquette or their wild overtime win over Butler. To me, what they showed last night was an ability to punch back when it looks like it's when you're playing at about a C. Last night I would have given through about 25 minutes in that game, I would have given them a C. And yesterday when it shoot around, I think the vibe that I was getting was, well, does this team not have enough? Does this team not have enough? And is that going to prohibit them from making the NCAA tournament? I think it's a natural question when you lose a guy as good as Bryce Hopkins. Mm-hmm. But Kim English wasn't asking that question. And I thought he showed last night that he can do this job, that he can be the guy at Providence. And we'll see how it evolves long term. But he's 35 years old. You're at the Prudential Center last night. Yes, Seton Hall doesn't have Kadari Richmond, but you guys know, and I'm here to tell you right now, like, even though they lost last night, that Seton Hall team is for real. Mm-hmm. They are playing beyond their skis. And last night they started the second half 7 for 8 from the field and built a double-digit lead. Now, they just went cold, and that's just it. Providence is second in the Big East in scoring defense, only the UConn. They're top 10 in the country in defensive efficiency. This is a great defensive team. And Devin Carter's playing like a Big East Player of the Year candidate. When they get some shot making from Ticket Games and Jayden Pierre, which he did down the stretch last night, they become tough. But more than anything, they were getting blasted on the glass. They were really getting out rebounded. Seton Hall has surprisingly been a terrific rebounding team this year. And Josh Oduro said, enough is enough. That was an enough is enough win for Providence. It's a great win for them, and it gets them back on the right side of the bubble for now.
John, another team that needs to get on the right side of things is DePaul, and they made a change at their coaching position. But, to get competitive in the conference again, is it about that leadership? Is it about recruiting? Is it the whole operation? How do you get from going from the laughingstock of the league to actually be taken seriously again?
Well, you have to commit the resources and the assets to be a Big East school. You have to up everything that you're doing to be on the same plateau as these other Big East institutions. And sources have told me that DePaul is willing to commit much more money to this coaching search than they have in the past. They have a new university president. His name is Rob Manuel, and Dwayne Peavy, the AD at DePaul, who fully swung and missed in his first search. Now, I want to make this clear to the people out there who say an AD makes the hire. An AD works with a search firm to get a candidate pool list. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, those candidates walk into a boardroom and those candidates walk in front of a president. And if the president or the board says to the athletic director, I don't want to hire this guy, the athletic director's not hiring him because the athletic director answers to those people. So to that point, this is really interesting. I think that DePaul now, for the first time in perhaps 20, 25 years, the reason why I believe that DePaul could get this on a better track now is the president of the university trusts his AD. Mm. The AD's been able to sell the president and the school on the fact that if athletics wins, you win. And I know a lot of people might also roll their eyes and say, well, how do people not get that? Let me tell you something. There are some schools across the country that, and football schools, mm-hmm. that an AD can go to their school and say, our basketball matters too. And the board will say, no, it doesn't. Just get an 8 or 9 seed and we'll take it from there. Like, we don't need to commit more than we already are committing. You go and, you're fine being a middle tier. You've got to have commitment. You've got to have competency in those leadership positions. DePaul has not had that. They've not had that in a very long time. So they're going to be able to commit more money than you would think. I think they could be committing in the neighborhood of $3 million a year, which gets them in a much, much, much better place here. But they've got work to do to field these candidates, to get the right candidates. But they are going to get a guy who's been a college head coach. There is no question in my mind. They will not get an assistant making his move up. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to be stuck in this situation. I really do believe that they're going to get a notable name here who's trying to prove something at a next opportunity. But more than anything, Tony Stubblefield is unemployed right now because Dwayne Peavy, the AD at DePaul, has people lined up to give NIL. But during the holidays, when he called those people, they said, I'm not giving to this current regime. You got to show me that you actually care.
We're talking with John Fanta. He covers college basketball, calls college basketball for Fox Sports, also does some work for the Field of 68. John, as I'm looking around the Big East and we see, obviously UConn at the top of that hill, is there any weaknesses in the UConn armor right now? We're talking about the bottom of the league in DePaul, switching all the way to the top of the league now with UConn. Is there anything you've seen you're like, hey, this is where somebody might be able to get them?
Man, maybe somebody should mess with Dan Hurley's yoga schedule, because I don't know. I mean, I'm waiting for some. I guess it's Hurley versus the refs. That's the only thing that could cause them to have a hiccup. No, I mean, here's the thing. If Tristan Newton stays healthy for this team and stays in the rhythm he's been in, they're going to be very difficult to beat. You've got to crack that code. It's not Klingon. It's not Caravan. It's not Spencer. It's not even Stephon Castle. Like, they have players. They've got weapons guys. They've got great players. They're UConn. They're going to have great players. Mm-hmm. But to me, they won a national championship last year because their point guard was phenomenal. And Tristan, like, if I'm putting a Big East Player of the Year list together right now, he's got to be there, because to the best team, I typically give the best awards to. Mm-hmm. If you've won, and he's their most important player because he's the point guard. He's the guy who steers the ship. How many times have you guys seen the last 2 years shot clocks winding down? Mm-hmm. UConn needs someone to make a play or make a shot. And this kid is a dead-eye shooter off the dribble, like drilling threes that are from way downtown at the college level. I think that's it. I mean, I think that is if you're going to find a way through this armor, you got to get Newton to have an off night, because if he's stirring the drink, Caravan and Spencer are going to hit, catch, and shoot threes. In the first 5 games of Big East play in the new year, Caravan and Spencer combined to shoot 30 for 50 from 3. Like, they're incredible shot makers, but you gotta shut down the point guard. You gotta beat him. Klingon's really good. He's talented, but he's still figuring things out off that foot injury. To me, it's just how many ways they can beat you from the perimeter. When they hit a 3, it feels like 4 or 5 points. You gotta contain Newton.
John, this is going to be my last question as we're running out of time. Do you want it to be Creighton focused or Nebraska focused?
Ooh, Creighton focused.
All right. How concerning was Creighton's loss to UConn for you, with how lopsided that game ended up? Do you think it was just a fluke night for the Jays, or do you think what you saw is what you'll see again in February when these teams meet again?
No, there's no way we're going to see that again. No, zero chance. Just because Greg McDermott's too good of a coach to get embarrassed twice. That was just a bad night. Now, there are elements of it that we're going to see more of the same of. Here's the thing. Creighton, to me, heading into the year, was a Final Four candidate. Today, I would tell you guys, Sweet 16 caliber team. And once you get to the Sweet 16, you throw the ball up. Mm-hmm. they can make the Elite Eight, because if you make the Sweet 16, of course you can freaking make the Elite Eight. When people are like, no, they'll make the second weekend, then they'll bow out. Well, how the heck do you know who they're playing? Last year, Creighton played Princeton in the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get lucky a little bit in March too, and it's not to take away anything from last year's Creighton team at all. But they played a Baylor team that didn't play any defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went on in the Sweet 16. They played a Princeton team that had a magical run, but they were better then. So here's the thing: the Creighton. The issue I have with them is two things. One, depth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if this big three isn't doing it, then how are they getting production? And two, speed.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have this great ability to take you off the bounce and go to the basket. They don't have that guy who could put the ball on the floor and just race past you. And Stephen Ashworth's getting a lot of criticism. He's doing what he can. I actually think he's gotten better. He's their most offensively efficient player. Shireman and Alexander have to knock down shots for this team to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because the thing for me is last year Creighton could win plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. They could win. They could beat you in like 10 different ways. This team can beat you in about 3 to 5 different ways. When one of those ways is cooking, they're really cooking. They're that good. But if you stop Alexander or Shireman, and if you really limit Shireman, you're going to win.
We're talking with John Fanta. He does play-by-play for Fox. He does commentary for Fox and for Field of 68
does it all.
And everywhere else. He's going to be on. What's the game you're on tonight in North Carolina on CBS Sports Network?
5 Eastern time, CBS Sports Network. Join us for some bingo hour hoops. We're just in time. I'm running into my grandma's dinner, but hopefully somebody can watch.
What's the matchup tonight?
5 o'clock. It's Campbell and Elon in the Coastal Athletic Association. So I'm en route to Bowie's Creek, North Carolina.
Whew. Either of these teams, potential March upset teams, John.
Neither one of them are. But you know what? Neither one of them are. But I always say in college basketball, what makes me love this sport is that two teams in America can go out and play, and you could see the wildest game you've ever seen, because that's what college hoops delivers.
Amen. There we go. That's our guy, John Fanta. John, we appreciate your time so much. Enjoy your time in North Carolina. Maybe stop by High Point and say hi to our old friend Alan Huss for us while you're out there.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, John.
That's John Fanta. He covers college basketball for Fox Sports, for CBS Sports, as he said tonight, and of course the Field of 68, the busiest man in the business. We appreciate that time.